Have you ever heard someone say, "We're growing apart from each other"? Do you know what they're really saying? We don't communicate anymore. Not that they don't talk, but that they don't communicate feelings and ideas anymore. They just coexist, like roommates, each doing their own thing, but there's no intimacy, there's no closeness, there's no oneness of spirit. Broken relationships begin with misunderstandings that are sometimes irrational and a lack of communication. Because when there's no communication, the enemy can come into our lives and fill our minds with all kinds of lies and half-truths about our spouse, about our circumstances, and about ourselves. She doesn't really love me. If she did, why would she do that? He doesn't really care about me. All he thinks about is himself. Or, our marriage is hopeless. It's doomed. I'm going to get a divorce. Or why would anybody care about me? I'm worthless. I'm unlovable. Now, these are real struggles that real people face in their marriage. And when we begin to dwell on those lies, we soon believe them. And when we believe them, that affects our behavior and it affects our attitude towards our spouse. Sometimes we grow remote and distant. We give our spouse the silent treatment, or maybe we become harsh and critical toward them. And before you know it, what started out as a healthy, thriving relationship soon becomes a shipwreck, and Satan has destroyed another Christian marriage. But it doesn't need to go that way. Paul says in Ephesians 4:25, "Wherefore, putting away lying, speak every man truth with his neighbor." Because the truth has a way of exposing Satan's lies so that they become powerless and ineffective. But the only way we can know and understand what the truth is when open, honest communication and dialogue takes place between husband and wife. Now, the experts tell us there are at least 4 levels of communication that occur in a marriage. First of all, there's small talk, when we talk about the weather and what we're going to watch on television. Second, there's business talk, when we talk about scheduling and who needs to take the kids to soccer practice, and if we're going to spend Christmas at my mom's house or your mom's house. Then third, there's problem talk, when we have an argument or a disagreement. Now, we need to be on our guard because so much of the communication that does take place at this level can be hostile and destructive to the relationship. We need to learn to fight clean. Learn to solve your problems without raising your voice in anger and without those critical put-downs that hurt and wound each other and have the tendency to leave emotional scars. And then fourth, there's heart talk. And this is a level we need to get to if oneness is going to take place. This is where you're able to bare your soul to one another, providing each other with a safe environment where you know that if you speak the truth in love, you will not be rejected. Where you try to understand the other person's perspective and where they're coming from. And when you have hurt and wronged each other, you ask each other's forgiveness, and forgiveness is given in return. Communication is so important. It is the only means for solving problems in a marriage. And if you don't communicate, those problems will never be resolved. And even if there are no problems in your marriage, you still need to communicate, because communication is the God-given means whereby 2 people can become one. Marriage is the most important of all human relationships. More important than your relationship with your children, more important than your relationship with your parents, more important than your relationship with your boss at work or with your colleagues at the office or your friends from church. Marriage is the most important of all human relationships. And there's only one other relationship that should be before it, and that's your relationship with Jesus Christ. Don't settle for mediocrity in your marriage. Don't accept just living or existing in the same house together as the status quo. God has a path for your marriage that is richer and deeper, but you need to be proactive. You need to be intentional. So make time for one another and take that communication with your spouse to a deeper level.